All right. Yay.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. We'll get started. If there's any questions too, anybody have any questions to start off with, or?
I know when I add one of the contrast colors, it's almost like I have to, I think it happens when I've actually ended up slipping 6 stitches.
Yeah.
And that, so I'm not losing my mind. That is how it works.
Yes.
Yep, you're right.
Yes, because
and then there's a one where you have to
three...
like slip the stitches and then move it to the back and slip them again, or vice versa.
Yeah, you slip the stitch, you slip the 3 stitches at the end of the pattern, and then you also end up slipping the 3 I-cord stitches. So yeah, it's a little unwieldy when that happens, but luckily it doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, and it's it works out. Yeah. Just follow blindly.
Well, and I will say, I started because I have bags of leftovers from when I did the big blanket, the sample. The other thing you can do with it is there is a hat pattern in the collection. So I'm only using one color, but if you have a little bit left over of all your colors, you could actually make a hat.
Yeah, isn't that cool? I think it looks awesome, Laura.
And that's also by Stephen West.
I know. Where's that pattern?
Is it a honeycomb?
Yeah, it's called the Painting Honeycombs hat. It's part of the same collection.
I didn't find the pattern for it.
I was telling the ladies that, at first I was like, oh, I can just put together the hat myself. I probably don't need to buy the second pattern. And then I was like, but he has the decreases written in for making the motif smaller well, that's one of them. Yes.
Yeah. Painted honeycombs hat.
Yeah. So there is a hat as part of the collection. So
the planter cover.
Yeah, you could do it as that. He has a bunch of stuff in that collection.
It's shown way up.
Yeah. He has a shawl, he has a scarf, he has all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there are tons.
Cool. Yeah, it's a fun.
I didn't find that on his site. It's totally cute.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you the only thing that's bugging me about this pattern, and I'm going to put my camera on.
Remove my spotlight so you can share your.
It's the I-cord on one side, I bet.
Well, no, the I-cord, I like the way it looks. Sometimes I wish he would have just carried the gray up instead of having it switch colors, but that would have been a little tricky.
All the way across.
Yeah, it would have been a little tricky because you'd have to like go back and knit some of the I-cord on this side, which you could do, but anyway, but the part that I feel like maybe, I don't know, anyway, there's no perfect answer. So, but I don't like how it looks like a garter stitch just right here, because after you're done with a color row, you just knit across all the stitches. So you end up knitting these 3 stitches when the rest of the time, this is like reverse stockinette. So you should be purling on this side. So I experimented a little bit, and you can see, so this is normal. This one's normal. This is how the pattern is written. But in this one, I changed, and I just, I knit. So like up here, you can see, I knit all these stitches, but then I purled the gray stitches. And that made it, that makes it look really good here. But I don't know if it shows up too well. I think I can block it out. But you do get these like tiny little pops of color that if you don't, block them out, I think that they might look a little weird.
It compresses it?
Yeah,
a little.
Just a tiny, but I think if I block it out, it'll look fine. So then I thought, well, I'm going to try another way. So here I did knit, purl, knit on those 3 gray stitches. And I think that looks pretty good.
So you only have like the 2 loops at the side.
Yeah, you still get 2 loops at the side. So I don't know. I really haven't decided which I like the best. I think I do actually like this the best. And I'm just hoping that when I block it, I'll just, but it's kind of annoying to have to do that all the time. But I actually, on the camera, it's looking really good. In person, those little pops of color stick out a little bit more.
Well, I was going to say you could just on the needle dunk it in the sink now and block that small section out, and that could help you make the decision how to keep going. I assume you're not going to rip back.
No, I'm not going to rip back. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could just, yeah, block a little bit and see how it looks. Or I'm thinking I might experiment a tiny bit more. I might try like purling it twisted or something and see if that kind of gets these little edges that they really not showing up that well on camera. But like right here, you can kind of see there's just this extra little pop of color that's orange that I don't know. But yeah, I think it will block out. Or like here, seeing that one, it just looks just a little different, not quite perfect. So anyway, that's my experimenting for the for the time. But yeah.
Question.
What?
Martha.
Question? Uh-oh. Did you?
Oh, you muted yourself again.
Let's see.
I might be able to.
I wonder if I can unmute.
Says we can ask to unmute, but
yeah, I tried to do that. Well, anyway, if you have questions or type them in the chat, maybe we can hear. I'll open my chat.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, let us know. I think we didn't quite hear you.
I think she
question. Oh.
Now there are two instances. I guess one got
no.
I kicked myself out when I was trying to ask a question.
Oops. Go ahead.
You're back.
Yes, I'm back. So let's see, I got a whopping I-cord completed. Took me a while because I dropped some stitches. And so that was a good self-hazing to fix drop stitches in the I-cord. And so then when it was time to bring in the first contrast color, so it says carry the main color along the edge. Is that basically, I've got two questions here, but the first one is that Intarsia?
No, not really. So here, I'll switch over to my camera and show what's going on. So all they mean is that you're gonna leave your gray color attached.
Yep.
Or whichever color is your base, leave that attached. And then just pick up and start knitting. But when you get back to your this edge, then just kind of bring this color up, and I slip the stitch around the back so that the gray just kind of gets tracked going up that I-cord.
Okay, so when I come, back along that road and getting ready to go back the other direction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I was thinking,
yeah. Yeah, you don't have to like carry it all along or anything.
Okay.
Just up the edge.
Okay.
And then you get to cut your colors.
Okay.
Because if you tried to carry all the colors all the way up, then it would get to be like a, rainbow highway or something that you would see more.
Yeah, but you're using the main color enough that it makes more sense to do it that way than cut it and have to weave it in every time.
Yeah. And if you don't pull it super tight, all you do is like leave it this way, and then your next color will come around here, and then you put this back, kind of over, and your other color is coming here, and then you start knitting and just go on your merry way, and it will just kind of hide it in the I-cord. So you can see here, you can't really see my gray being carried up. Because it just automatically kind of gets hidden in that I-cord.
Okay.
And I think like once I did forget to do it. Oh, I think here you can see I forgot to catch it. And so then you do see this like strand of gray, and that's just because I forgot. But what I'll do
I'm kind of queen of that, and you can sometimes see my little bit of blue right there.
Yeah, you can see it coming.
Of forgetting to catch it, but even if you forget to catch it, it's still not
yeah, it doesn't look
on your wrong
horrible.
side.
Okay.
But what and if you're super picky, what you can do is like when you weave in the next end, you can kind of pull it in and hide it. But
Okay. I'm too no to know if I'm super picky yet. We'll find out.
don't be. That's my advice.
Okay. All right. So then for row 3, then that is all just done in the contrast color.
Yeah. So
And I
row 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. It's you do 6 rows of that contrast color.
Okay.
So you ignore the gray for 6 whole rows, and then you take up the gray and do a few rows, and then you get the next color. So
Yeah, what you're doing is you're going to be knitting the contrast color and slipping the main color, which is what creates sort of the vertical edges at the vertical pieces in the honeycomb.
Yeah. So if you here, I'll switch back to camera too, just to zoom in since, but you're slipping. So the whole 6 rows, you're slipping these same stitches. So that's why this kind of gets pulled up.
Gotcha.
Because you've got a lot more knitting here, and when you slip them, you just, well, it doesn't show as much after you do it, but you have these little bars where it gets slipped behind the gray stitches.
This is definitely one of those blankets where all the pretty stuff is on the front, and on the back it does not look that interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could talk about lining it or something too at some point, but it's just when you're going to take your picture, make sure the front is facing out, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because your back is basically going to look like you have big stripes of color.
Yeah,
That's fun.
but it still looks fun.
It's not ugly, but it's certainly not as visually appealing or interesting looking as the front.
Yes.
That is true as well. Okay, thank you. I've been sweating that part, so I will get moving to the next row then. Thank you.
Yeah, let's make sure, usually just take the easy way. Don't want to overcomplicate things. But
well, and as Suzanne said at the very beginning, the next shipment should be going out in the next week or so, and that's going to have, if you're doing the full blanket, your 8th color, and then more of your main color. So you'll be able to continue on soon.
Yes.
So, and I suppose that's really all we have for you. If you have other questions,
there's not really much else. I think I'm gonna try to next week get to just showing the I-cord bind off at least.
Next week or
not
next
next week, but whatever, next month.
Okay.
And then and of course answer any questions, and but we have some fun. Anybody have any other like random questions, or I don't know.
This is just hangout time. You can grab your blanket and work on it. You can grab something else and work on it. We can just hang.
Or
this one's a little different in that there's not like multiple steps or pieces or parts in the way that some other patterns are, where there's like a next section for us to work on.
Yes.
So
Once you learn what you're doing, it's a whole lot of just knitting, right? But that's the nature of blankets, unless you're doing a stitch sampler or something, but this one is not.
Well, the changing colors keeps it interesting.
Yes.
So, and I found I can do about 2 colors a night if I sit down and put in a movie, or if I'm sitting for a little while.
Yeah. Right. I think I am going to stop recording for a little bit, and then we will
we can just
if there's any questions, we'll try and start them.